way too strong. Even with this is the life patch, and Ragnaros did get a small nerf on
His health and his regen, essentially
the
the biggest
Q,
ones, and the
and
Q.
and the Q damage, especially on that quest. But still, just so strong. Molten Core is basically another heroic available for Ragnaros. We'll see what happens in game number 2 draft in First Hallows.
This is a good games map pick. Raven wanted first ban. Good game does pick into Raven though, which is actually, or rather pick into Cursed, which is Raven's most favorite map historically. Either way, it's a good map. It's a good all-around map. The Falstad ban here really warranted on this one. Let's see if Raven picks up the Vala again.
Varian was good, but Diong playing on Varian, it looked a little sloppy, not perfected with the team. It almost looked like Konkona day one, going in alone and getting caught by all that CCs, and you were basically just forced out of the fight, and your entire backline had no one to support.
They walked into chain CCs a few times. They had a few big positioning errors with Vala, with also the Varian you were talking about. This time they're going to commit to the Zeratul first, which leaves GG in this awkward position. I'd say Varian Malfurion is really strong here because Varian's, like I said before, kind of a soft counter to Zeratul. We've talked about this a lot. His taunt kind of locks him in place. It's not always easy to get your hands on that Zeratul, but if you do, he's super powerful there. We're going to see Dahaka instead. This is the highest priority we've seen from this hero in this tournament.
Yep, looks like GG wants to take that global before Raven actually chooses to do so, because Falstad is banned. And with that, Raven can grab Ragnaros and ETC if they also want to go stage dive for global presence.
Yeah, I mean, this leaves Diong the opportunity to take Varian. They might just grab Varian and ETC. It just leaves them with 3 melees, though. So they have to make a tough choice on how they want to handle that.
The Curseology also needs some poke to stop that channeling, of course.
They have kind of, I feel like, drafted themselves into somewhat of a corner in terms of Ragnaros as well. And I don't know if with this draft, I just don't think they can play Ragnaros at all. Which means it would be wise to ban him in this phase. As GG now looking to probably ban a support. I think just go ahead and take Karzim away here is it's a solid play to do that.
Yep, Karazim seems to be the support for Raven, as Palm was used pretty well from Raven's side last game. And NMX on Liming is always scary, not just for GG, even for top tier Korean teams also.
Joju has played 3 Malfurions, 2 Karazims, and 1 Ariel this tournament of his 6 games played. So we'll see if they're going to prioritize that. The Abathur here, I think we're really reaching if we're banning Abathur here, but it's strong for the map.
Yeah, it's possible. With Zeratul, of course, it's going to be a lot of harass.
It's a really old style. Like, we don't really see this anymore. It's still strong. Used to be a must pick, or rather a must ban, like in 2015, early 2016 on this map. We saw it first banned often.
But not anymore, as Illidan is also going down along with Abathur. Pretty surprised that meta is shifting into, it went from a melee assassin, it went to a ranged assassin. Now it's more of a ranged bruiser sort of meta with a lot of CCs in the middle.
You have this secondary tank, what we call the sub-tank in Korea, that is where like the bruiser players, like I call them, but you know, if you want to call them melee assassins, sure, that's fine. Most melee assassin players are forced to play right now in this meta a hero like Dahaka or Ragnaros, or sometimes even Zarya. You see the Tychus ban come out. With Dahaka already on the table, they were probably thinking about banning Rag. Having Dahaka and Rag can be, well, it could be strong, but it just feels like you're kind of overlapping there, and you don't have like one strong, sturdy tank if you do that. So perhaps we just don't see Rag in this game at all, actually. It's a chance that we might not. If GG takes him here, it's not the end of the world, and if you see a Dahaka pull into a Sulfuric Smash, you can have that isolated target just like we talked about with Varian in the past. I think it's more likely we just see Varian instead of Rag here for GG, and they just don't end up with a traditional old school tank, like they don't go Johanna, they don't go Muradin, and they probably draft into the Gul'dan. Okay, they're gonna take Vala instead. There's the variant.
Yeah, and BDG did play Vala 3 times already out of the 8 games. So let's see if Vala this time is going to make some significant game-changing moves when they do not have Tassadar. Of course, they can still pick up a Tassadar here.
Okay. Do you think they're going to pick up Tassadar and just leave the Vala Glass Cannon? They absolutely could.
Maybe because Varian can actually have Taunt with CC Malfurion, and the Haka actually does a lot of damage in the front line.
There's the Ragnaros. We're actually going to see it. Solo range damage Li Ming. I mean, we talked about Rag has some range damage. He might even go W build. Doubt it, but he might.
I like to build on my Meteor build. It's really possible, especially when you have like the entire opponent draft when they do not have like the utility skills to actually move around. There's the task.
There's the task you were talking about. So, I mean, Ragnaros can also poke to deny tributes. Same that Tassadar can. Which draft do you like better? I actually kind of have to lean towards. I have to lean towards GG because they got Dahaka, they've got that global.
I actually like Raven's draft a little bit more compared to GG, but let's see what happens. We're going to Cursed Hollow very soon. This is going to be game number 2 going into Cursed Hollow. Let's see if Raven can come back. It is 1-0 going in favor of GG. Let's get into Cursed Hollow game number 2.
Game number 2, good game. BDG on Vala, Jaehyun on Malfurion, good on Varian, Hooligan on Dahaka, and BJ on Tassadar.
전투 시작까지 10초 남았다.
In red, Raven, Joju on Karazim, Hamlin on 0-2, NMX on Li Ming, Diong on ETC, and H82 on Ragnaros.
1. 자, 뭘 기다리느냐?
Okay. In terms of like displacement, pressure, like if you look at these two teams, who's the bully? It's Raven. You know, they have Zeratul, they've got Iron Fist Karazim, they have an ETC, they've got Rag as well. I mean, this is the team that's looking to basically just take a team fight so heavily in terms of their CC and picks, and then just win by overwhelming numbers. They have then the resets, dominate, calamity, things like that. Whereas the longer fight, generally speaking, goes to GG, but that's not to say that they can't get picks, because they also have Dahaka, they have Variant's Taunt. So it's a pretty even draft, I think, in most respects, especially in terms of team fighting. But I think Dahaka is going to give the early game over to GG because he has that late game, or excuse me, that early game global.
And good. He was up in mid lane for some reason for some time, so GG did lose a few wave, but they actually have the lead in the EXP for some reason. Wondering why at the moment.
Well, maybe a wave we didn't catch on camera. Looks like it's going to be a fort for a fort here. Slight lead for that for Raven. In fact, Raven going to get this cannon tower first.
Are they going for a core rush?
Well, this actually was the old meta in 2015. We saw it a little bit in 2016. And even back to the old Africa Heroes of the Storm community tournaments we had in Korea at the beginning, where a lot of these players come from. Like Tist made a big name for himself there. You saw this a lot, as especially weaker teams couldn't figure out how to respond. It kind of just being this game of chicken, and the team with the better wave clear got an edge. In this game, I think because this mid went down, it goes in favor of GG.
Just slightly.
Just slightly, yeah. Joju going to start the siege camp. We see Joju actually rotating to the camps first on Karazim. Is becoming a trend, I'd say. The Karazim players now is to start the camp. We have these fast siege giant rushes almost. GG going to get there's a little bit slower. Have to stay out of lane a little bit longer. And the better spawn to Raven because they're going to have their Siege Giant pressure on the opposite side of the map. Dahaka can help relieve that pressure because he's global.
And it looks like Zeratul not going to come all the way up. They're just going to give up this first tribute. But Molten Core just to delay some time and have some wave clear.
Yep. So this is not the most important tribute. Obviously, it's just the first one. They're going to delay this a lot. I don't think either team should be able to get a pick here, although we see a root go down. Wuje's got the slow. Not going to matter. Also, keep in mind that the Siege Giant camps in this case, normally they'd be pressuring the fort, but because both forts are dead, they're kind of just going towards the keep wall, which rubber bands this map a little bit, stretches it out on both sides. Usually going to go into favor of the global hero, but because Zeratul stays this time, it's pretty even. In fact, we see in the top lane a little bit of extra soak for H82.
GG's pressuring hard on that mid lane, really doing some damage onto that fountain now.
Fountain's going to go down. Remember, H82 is getting a lot of extra EXP, so is this worth it at the end? I'd say almost. Like, the fact that they got the healing well is quite significant, as Hamlin really wants to try to get a solo kill here onto Good. It's pretty unlikely that's going to happen. He almost got hooked there. But he has this direct pressure now onto the keep wall, which is going to have to be responded to. They're just going to catch him and kill him, though. Way too greedy.
Yep, way too greedy. And the team is actually the one that's going to pay for this one. Raven has no chance of contesting this, as Dahaka already went all the way up to soak up some EXP. Because they were missing some waves as they were pushing too much in the mid lane. Great time to boss. This is actually a pretty early time to boss, under 5 minutes.
Yeah. Usually you see 5:36 the boss timing. It'd be Black and TNL kind of popularizing that in like late 2015 or late 2016 on this map, where you end up with this boss on Curse Point, and both teams are going to boss here, and it's going to be in favor though of GG because they have the Curse lead, or rather the Tribute lead. Both scout, both check. Very quick reactions on both sides. The reason why this happened so early is because both tributes were channeled super fast. Normally it takes a little bit longer to channel as you have some poking and things like that. Well, see if this ends up coinciding with the tribute spawn time. It should, as you guys can see here.
And Raven actually chooses to camp when they have a boss pushing this bottom lane. I don't know if that's the best choice they could do. They could have came all the way down, and well, that was kind of a lucky tribute right next to them. It all made sense after, but
sure, I agree with you. Like, it's kind of a interesting choice in terms of how much damage was going to be done to them in the bot lane. But on the other hand, the pressure that the Bruisers would have relieved, even if it wasn't that lucky spawn location, might have delayed a curse against them. And they will be able to defend this now. They can come back down here. They're going to need more than just Diong here to stop this from killing the keep wall. It actually is doing quite a bit of damage. They did some damage to the bot keep wall as well, but not as much as this. Definitely think the rotation back to deal with this was a little bit slow. But yeah, they get in the cap there. Lucky spawn. Life goes on. There's no curse against them for now.
Yep. And that's how life works. It is unfair, but still, better team always wins. And Raven down half a level, but not really too much, as they will also soak up. And compared to how GG already had a global hero from the beginning, Zeratul managed to keep that lane soaked along, and the other four actually did pretty well to also not lose too much EXP from the beginning. Almost the same. You may find this game boring, but I actually love it because you get to see these both teams' colors, how they rotate, how they actually try to shot call what happens. And this may actually be the first 5v5 team fight.
Okay, this is Curse Point for good game. Diong looking for a potential stage dive in. And obviously in the top lane, Dahaka is getting extra soak. The longer this goes on, the better it is for good game. They do avoid the majority of that big stage dive, but the sulfuric smash on the Jaehyun. He gets a silence though, lives much longer, and this means BDG is doing so much free damage. 2 kills already, BDG lives. Void Prison has to be used here for the disengage. but Good Game will get a curse off of this.
Yep, they made the choice to focus Malfurion, but that's exactly what happens when Twilight Dream just pops off, and Malfurion actually lived for, I think, like 1.5 to 2 seconds, a little more that, which turned around the entire team fight, and GG just worked pretty well around the team fight.
Well, this curse is, you know, at 8 minutes in, probably going to damage the mid-keep wall. The keep wall that was killed earlier will cause the minions to stack up on the bot keep, so that's quite significant. Had they not gotten this curse, it wouldn't have actually mattered as much. You know, the keep wall is down. We'll see if that matters later, but in this case, with how much pressure is on this lane already, look, Cannon Tower goes down, keeps under pressure, and they have a little bit of poke with Li Ming, but there's a lot of sieging potential here for GG with Vala and Tassadar. Here comes the stage dive again here for Diong. He's all alone though. Hamlin coming from behind. Can he make something work here? He doesn't have Void Prison. He's actually just kind of standing there looking for an opportunity. And it's not like they're fighting under keep, because the keep's deactivated. It's cursed. 5 seconds until that reactivates. Hamlin is waiting for that moment, biding his time. 12 seconds until Void is up. But it doesn't matter, the keep is dead. And all lanes are pushed. Oh, the root onto Hamlin. Hooligan with that long distance charge in and the taunt. Gonna be a kill on to Hamlin there. And this is starting to look like a bad situation for Raven. I mean, it already was, but now it looks like a dire situation. A dire bad situation even.
If Hamlin was just I feel like he was just waiting for the cooldown on that Void Prison and then didn't really manage to get out at the safe time. And GG made the right choice to just go back when Raven hit 13, because they knew their heroics at the beginning. All of their heroics were on cooldown when Raven had they had Palm, Smash, and Wave of Force. GG looks like they're on top of things today compared to all the other games before.
Yeah. I mean, they're up against a different caliber of opponent as well, so it can be somewhat misleading, but look at this. Diong, see you later. Totally caught and cut here. Joju does get stunned there by the Rain of Vengeance. This is going to put some Siege Giant pressure on the core. They'll probably rotate mid and start poking with this composition at the mid keep. They could also alternatively steal Bruisers. The safest, like, you know, the guy who like doesn't go out after midnight because he's like really nervous about like the crime rate in his area. Safe play here is to take the boss. Like, or they're even gonna bait this as well. This is risky, but let's see what happens.
And it happens to be Joju on the front line and just stashes away. That was quick, and Hamlin just sitting right there.
Look, any neutral rotation or any sort of neutral trade like this is good for GG because they're closer to 16 and they have catapults pushing. So they didn't get the boss and they didn't get any kills, but they forced Raven to rotate all the way deep onto the wrong side of the map. They weren't getting ESP, they weren't soaking, they are now, but they lost some time here. GG is about to hit 16. And this position on the Tribute is lucky for Good Game as well.
And it took so much longer for Raven to go all the way up there to take the camp. And GG this won't matter too much right now because it's 0 out of 3 right now on Tribute, and barely takes it. And Jaehyun is out of this position itself. It is actually Li Ming gets palmed right there.
Well, that ice block into Twilight Dream was pretty damaging. Hamlin escapes using his Void Prison, or attempts to escape, I should say. And it's just, the Void Prison is just completely ignored. H82 is going to be the next to fall. Joju will escape, but will his team escape their fate? Starts to seem unlikely, as now GG with 16 and 2 bodies up will take a free boss. They may even attempt to double boss. The timing of this kind of works out to where they boss, get the second tribute, go onto curse point, then take the second boss, and then get a curse off of that while Raven has to defend 2 bosses. Like, this is a 3-step process that is likely about to occur.
Yeah, exactly. And Raven, was that the right choice to go in when your opponent is up with talent? I don't know, I'm not sure. I think they saw Malfurion out of position, and then this is our chance to pick one down, and then it turned out to be the opposite. Malfurion just having all of them coming right into Malfurion, as Raven has a lot of melee damages. Twilight Dream turned around everything. Again, maybe next time they can focus on something else like Tassadar even.
To be honest, I think the stage dive was just super preemptive as well. Like, there was no follow-up, and basically we just saw Jaehyun, Ice Block is pretty good, and Twilight Dream you, and what are you gonna do?
So enthusiastic.
I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, that was the start of things going wrong, and then also after that, they were down a talent tier, and also down a heroic, and ETC was dead, and this is, I was talking about, we got the boss and the tribute, we may not even need to see anything after that here, as the boss is now on the core. Deyoung gonna stage dive in again, doesn't die this time, but gets very low. Hamlin is dead. The core is under attack here. We see a nice palm to keep H82 alive briefly here, but I don't know if it's going to matter, as the core is under attack now by all the heroes. The boss, not even dead yet.
Only 50% and lower, going down to 30%. The entire team of GG is staying alive. They're just having fun around the core. Looks like game 2 is going to GG. Well played.
Well played. Pretty one-sided series so far. The game there, the tribute spawn locations worked well for GG. And then they kind of won every team fight slightly. They made all the right choices in terms of pushing, controlling the map, controlling the mercs. I can't point fingers at anybody on Raven, with the exception of that one stage dive from Deyoung, which seemed to be a bit far away from his team. In theory, if they had gotten a pick from that, if they had been able to kill Jaehyun, maybe this makes it into a good situation. It's a 5v4 on their side. Even though they're down a talent tier, they win it. They can swing things back, get the boss on their side, then get the tribute, and then everything kind of goes the opposite direction. But it didn't end up that way.
Yeah, that was the risk they took, and it did not turn out to be their favor. But still, I want to give it to BDG so far, just keeping on that aggressive and staying on that side. But for now, it looks like we're gonna have another commercial break before going into game 3. Let's see if GG can close this one out, or Raven will be the one turning this around after a short commercial break. See you guys soon. Stay tuned.